Welcome everyone to round 2 of the Star Wars Unlimited Locals Night at Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. Once again, if you guys are looking for a place to play some Star Wars Unlimited, Valkyrie Vault is a place to check out. Thursday nights, 6 p.m., $5 entry. You walk away with a promo pack and a pack of the current set. Currently, LOF. And if you place higher, you have a chance at walking away with maybe a couple more. So, in round 1, I told you all this was a Padawan format represented by this player who specifically asked to play Padawan. Once again, Padawan is a deck constructed of common only, no specialty. You can use any leader you want, but your base has to be common. In the round 1, unfortunately, some of the players there didn't have Padawan decks, but as I said in round 1, 2, and 3 are Padawan strategies. So we get to see some Padawan decks actually facing off where they are at the exact same power level, where mine was Padawan versus constructed. So anyways, over here we have Boba Yellow. Once again, Boba states when you deal non-combat damage, you can tap it to deal 1 indirect damage to your opponent. And then he can flip 4/6 for a vanilla 4/6, or I believe it's a 4/6. Or he can flip over and become a +4/+4 onto a vehicle. And when flipped over onto a vehicle, you could deal 4 damage divided your way onto your opponent's units. And we just have a generic yellow base. Like I said, we are on common bases. You could play 4 spaces if you want to. Those were commons. And then over here, we got Supreme Leader Snoke Red. I think the week prior to this one, the 3rd, I think someone brought in Snoke Yellow and made the joke of eating the yellow snow. So that was the joke. So anyways, we have the red snow. I don't know if you want to eat red snow. If there's red snow, you need to go. The doctor needs to see ya. Anyway, Snoke states on his front side, pay 1, tap them. You can give an experience token to the highest attack villainy unit on your board. Flips for 6 for, I believe, 4/7. And then once again does the exact same thing. On attack, you can give an experience token to the highest attack villainy unit on your board. So we're just playing aggression here and control here with Boba and Snoke. So this should be a lot of fun. Not mentioning both of our players have showcase leaders as well. It's always fun when people gotta flex their showcase leaders. I myself have some showcase leaders as well. Typically the ones I like to play the most of. So with that said, let us begin. So anyways, both our players are readied up, and we're immediately going to play a TIE Bomber on the Boba side. We're immediately going to then tap down for 1 at Antagonizer, Gavanian Antagonizer, and then we're immediately going to use the other one to immediately tap to allow us to get a +1 onto that, because again, it's the highest attack villainy unit on the board. It's actually really was the only villainy unit on the board, but still. And then Bounty, your opponent gets to draw a card. So anyways, we're immediately going to go for the TIE Bomber. TIE Bomber effects to deal 3 indirect damage on the attack, and then Boba to deal 1 extra indirect damage. So all of that is going to immediately go for the base. We're going to tap again Snoke here to give another +1/+1 to the Agitator, but the Agitator is immediately going to get hit with a Waylay. Oh no, all those tokens are pointless. So anyways, we're going to go bring out the Agitator. We're going to bring out then a First Order Stormtrooper once again on attack, and on defeated, your opponent has to take 1 indirect damage. As remember, JTL was the set that gave us indirect as a concept for the game. So anyways, we're going to go for again the TIE Bomber. TIE Bomber to deal 3 indirect damage to our opponent, and they can put it anywhere. Then the Boba Fett to deal 1 more. So we're going to take 2 on the Agitator and then 2 on the base. We're immediately going to go for Precision to immediately give it a plus if it's a trooper, and it also gets Saboteur, which is kind of pointless. There's no thing, but still getting that plus on the attack is pretty good. And then we're going to go for a Strike Ship into the sky, and then it looks like a Zagarian Starhopper, as well as on the other side for Snoke, we do have a good old a Knight of Rin. So right now you kind of see where one deck is in the ground and one deck is in the sky. Again, Boba, just like the deck I was playing of Vader Yellow, is all about sky presence. Again, typically you want to be attaching to the sky. So anyways, we're going to go for the TIE Vanguard to deal 1 damage to the Agitator. and then kill it off, and then we get the bounty there, and then 1 indirect damage from the Boba Fett, then 3 more indirect damage from the TIE Bomber, which is very interesting. That TIE Bomber is a common manga, and that's disgusting. Anyways, we're going to then take 2 of that, 1 on the Knight of Ren, and then 1 on the base, and then we're going to do 1 indirect damage onto the attack there. I don't know if our opponent actually calculated that 2 coming from that the First Order Stormtrooper here. So anyways, we're just immediately going to just wipe out the board there, and then immediately going to bring using the exploit of the Separatist super tank. That is what's in the glare right now. It's a exploit, I believe 2, and then reduce the cost. Again, exploit states reduce the cost by 2 for each unit you kill off. So a really cool, interesting card that we have here on the Snoke player. That is a big unit to play out very early. Because again, they're about to go to, both sides are about to flip here. So anyways, we're going to flip on the strike ship for the Boba, dealing 4 damage to the super tank. And immediately we're going to put out the Fang Fighter, which is a common, by the way. Immediately going to get rid of the Boba Fett there. We're immediately going to go for the lackeys to immediately ambush them in to take out the super tank, just so that Snoke doesn't get immediately starts making that worse. Then we're going to go for the seasoned shore trooper. We're going to have the bomber swing in. We're going to deal 2 damage to the shore trooper, and then 1 damage to the Fang Fighter. And then the strike ship is going to attack. We're going to flip over Snoke, man. There is a Vanguard unit and also in the glare that on death you can give a infantry unit a +1 counter. So anyway, Snoke is going to swing into base. He's going to give himself the +1 before, of course, he deals damage, so he is going to be at 5. And then the shore trooper is going to be able to get his extra +2 on next turn, because again, if you're at 6 or more resources, he gets a +2 to his attack. So anyways, we do have the Vanguard infantry, we have Snoke, and then we have a Fang Fighter in the sky. We've also have the Boba leader having been burnt, while on the other side we have a First Order Stormtrooper, a TIE Bomber, a Strike Ship, a Vanguard TIE Dagger, it's a Vanguard TIE Dagger, or a TIE Vanguard Dagger, or something like that, and the Zagarian Starhopper. So anyways, we're going to immediately swing on the base with the short trooper. We're going to swing 2 damage on the base, and then 2 indirect damage coming down. So that's immediately going to probably see both, or maybe, so 1 is going to kill off. It looks like we're going to immediately kill off, of course, the Vanguard, and the Vanguard is going to give another +1 there. I thought I had to give to infantry, but I guess I must just give it to any unit. I haven't played that card back when I first started. That's what card I actually played in Tarkin, because the first deck I ever built and brought to Valkyrie's locals was Tarkin Red, if I recall. Yes, I believe it was 100% Tarkin Red. Man, that brings me back to the days when I first started Star Wars Unlimited. But anyways, we're going to have the Fang Fighter to attack the base here. Again, the Snoke is going to be able to attack it and give himself an extra +1, because again, he is going to be considered the highest attack point unit on the board, because right now he is at a 6'9". So he's considered higher than the short trooper that's right now on here. So it gives Zagarian Starhopper to attack it, then 2 indirect damage from the Zagarian Starhopper on with defeat. So that's both going to go to Snoke. Snoke is going to attack, give himself another +1 token, and then we're going to swing the TIE Bomber here, and then immediately going to decide where we want to put that 3 indirect damage. So we're going to put that on the base there. Unfortunately, it does look like the Snoke side is definitely going to win, because it does look like anyway for the Boba side to immediately kill off this Snoke here, especially because, again, Waylay being a card that you could use only sends back non-leader units back to your opponent's hand. So again, that Snoke just gets an extra +1, kills you instantaneously. Not mentioning the Shore Trooper does it, not mentioning the Knight of Ren does it, and we do see the Praetorian Guard and the Snoke's hand as well. So that does mean that they can, of course, just play that if they wanted to guard up Snoke. And again, they just took the initiative here. There's no blockers for probably to use. We're just going to send out the exploit for the Snail Tank, and the Snail Tank is just going to kill off the Shore Trooper. But again, there's not much you could do, as the game is scooped up by the Boba player, leaving Snoke red to win game number 1. All right, folks, let's move to game number 2. All right, here we go. Our players are just finishing up their resourcing here, and the Boba player will be going first here. So maybe they're going to spend 2 to immediately put out the TIE Bomber, and immediately going to have on the Snoke side, we're going to put out a Shore Trooper. So really nice. They're automatically starting with, of course, a body that we can immediately start pumping up with a good old Snoke, and then once we hit that 6 resources, able to get a little stronger. Like I said, Snoke does feel a lot like Tarkin from Spark of the Rebellion, as we see the TIE Bomber swing in and then have to deal with the 3 indirect plus the indirect from Boba, as we see the Shore Trooper attacking for 2. Then we're going to have a droid missile platform. No, that's not a droid missile platform. That's a droid. Is that the droid missile platform? Oh my gosh, I know there's a missile platform. But anyways, I believe that is the droid missile platform. My gosh, I feel like I know there's another one of those droids somewhere else. Anyways, we're gonna swing again for the 3 damage, and then the 4th one coming off the indirect from Boba. So 4 indirect, 2 onto the I believe that was a knight. No, that's a Praetorian Guard there. So then we're going to immediately swing in for the 4 damage from the droid, and then we're going to go for Snoke to give up the Praetorian Guard additional attack. Then we're going to see another droid coming down. The Praetorian Guard is going to then swing in for damage, and then we're going to go for a Daring Raid to do 2 more damage to our opponent's base. And then immediately going to put down a Death Star Stormtrooper, and then a Vargarian Agitator as well. So the Snoke player is just spamming bodies right now, which again, that's kind of what you want to do, especially against a deck that's spamming space bodies over there, and right now swinging for 4, 8, and then another 4 because of the indirect damage. So anyways, we're going to swing for another 3 indirect damage, and then 1 indirect damage from the Boba here. So mainly, we're going to put 2 on the Agitator, 1 onto the Praetorian Guard, and then 1 on base. We're going to swing for 3 with the Death Star Trooper, swinging for another 4 from the first droid. Then the Agitator is going to swing for 2. Then we're going to swing another 4 with the other Agitator as the other droid as well. And then we're going to swing in with the Shore Trooper. Again, Snoke hasn't triggered his effects just yet. So anyways, we're going to then go for the Hyena Bomber. As long as you control another red unit, you can then deal 1 damage to one of your opponent's units. So that's just going to kill the Agitator here. We're going to do an exploit 2 here, burning all the resources. We're going to put in the super tank, the Separatist super tank here as well. Again, I think it's an exploit 3. Exploit 3 means I believe for each actually exploited unit. Oh gosh, what the heck is exploit again? But it doesn't really matter. Waylay returns it back to hand. I believe exploit is for every unit exploit, you reduce the cost of that unit by 1. By that much amount. If I remember exploit, I haven't played exploit since set 3. Anyways, we're immediately going to kill off the Praetorian Guard by flipping over Boba onto the bomber, which means now the bomber actually deals damage. Who cares about Boba? Boba doesn't exist anymore. Disabling Fang Fighter there. Swinging for, of course, that. Then we're going to go kill off the Fang Fighter with the P-38, and then we have Snoke on the board. Snoke is going to swing in for 5 damage because he's going to buff himself up 1 since he's the only villainy unit on the board. Then we're going to swing a 4 damage from the droid coming in, and the problem is we still have another 4 here and then that. So it looks like we're just going to get a scoop up from the Snoke red side, and that will leave us tied 1-1 as we go into that all-important game number 3. Welcome to game number 3, folks, here as we are about to start up and figuring out who shall claim victory. Anyways, we're going to pay the 2. We're immediately going to go for the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller, and then we're going to immediately have a Strike Fighter out on the other side. Again, the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller is a 3/1 with Overwhelm on it, which is pretty nice there because then now you claim so the Strike Fighter can easily be killed off with no damage coming back to the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller, which is pretty nice. Anyways, we're going to go for the Guerrillas. The Guerrillas, once again, your opponent has to deal 4, or actually he has to take 4 indirect. So it deals 3 indirect. If your opponent deals any of that indirect damage onto your base, it instantly gets to restand there. Again, since it's non-combat damage, Boba is going to tap there to deal 4 indirect damage. We have, of course, the TIE Outlander coming down, and then we're going to give a +1 over to the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller, and then we're going to use Snoke's ability to give a +1 to the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller as well. So right now, the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller has just gotten a whole lot bigger and a little more survivability, now being had 3 health points instead of its 1 original health point. So anyways, going to go for the Guerrillas. Guerrillas to deal 2 damage to the base there, and then we're immediately going to swing in for 5 damage from the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller. Because again, it didn't take any damage from the strike ship. The strike ship is 0-3 with Raid 3. Anyways, we're going to go for the 7th Fleet Defender to come in with a shield, which is pretty nice there, meaning able to kill off that 𝐒𝐓𝐾 and then just break the shield for free, basically, which is pretty nice there. Unless, of course, Snoke decides to buff the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller. We're going to put out another 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller. We were supposed to be putting out a Short Trooper, and then we're going to go for Daring Raid to kill off, of course, the Vanguard TIE Fighter, and then because that is non-combat damage, we could then use Boba's effect to then deal 1 indirect damage. We're going to go for Snoke to power up the 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller, which of course makes complete sense. You kind of had to do it knowing that your opponent was going to use that 7th Fleet Defender to try to kill off that 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller and just crack the shield. Anyways, on the ground, of course, we have a Short Trooper and then a First Order Stormtrooper on the ground as well. So the Snoke player is starting to get out of hand with that 𝐒𝐓𝐾 Patroller, but nothing you can do. Just waylay it away, and it'll be gone for good. Again, it does have Overwhelm as well, which is pretty nice. It's a little strange that 3-1 has Overwhelm, but I guess that makes some sense. At least it's nice for Phasma, because Phasma, technically, that gives you another first order unit you can use here. So it's really going to be determining what our players really want to do here. We're going to go for the Surprise Strike to immediately be able to kill off the X-Gold Patroller, cracking the shield off the 7th Fleet Defender, which is really good there. Just get rid of that big body that's forming on the board. Anyways, we're just going to go for the skiff to immediately kill Ambush in, because we control another command unit on the board, just getting rid of the gorilla there. We're going to give a +1 there, not a damage, to the Shore Trooper from the Snoke. Snoke doesn't do damage, and then we're going to swing 2 more damage points into, of course, the base here, and it does feel like we are starting to see the game maybe go into the favor of the Snoke player right now, as, of course, on attack, when the first order Stormtrooper attacked, it does have to deal with 1 indirect damage. So it does look like they wanted the +1/+1 to actually go for the first order trooper, but it doesn't really matter. First order Stormtrooper dies, and then 1 indirect damage to wherever they want to go. So I want an indirect damage on the base, and then we're immediately going to I'm not sure why this. Oh, I guess no. Okay, so they sent 3 of the damage of Boba's damage to the skiff, and then 1 to the first order Stormtrooper, because again, you can divide the 4 damage however you want. So anyways, we can go for Precision Fire to then attack with, of course, a Shore Trooper, dealing a whole bunch of damage there. We're immediately going to swing in the 7th Fleet Defender with the Boba Fett there attached to it, which is really nice. Again, Boba does give a 4/4/4 on that. Anyways, then we're going to give a +1 to, of course, the Shore Trooper as well. So anyways, we're going to go for Fang Fire to knock out the +1, because again, the 2 +1 counters on it are because that's its natural effect to give it that. So anyways, we're going to go for the Gorillas. The Gorillas, we can, of course, choose where we want to put that 3 damage. Again, if any one of that damage does go onto our base, technically those Gorillas do get to restand. So it looks like 2 on our pause. So it looks like 2 on the Shore Trooper, 1 on the Snoke. Snoke will then power himself up, because again, he is, because if it's tied, you do get to choose. So we're just going to go for the skiff to knock out the Gorillas there. And then, of course, if you have a tie in power, you do get to choose where the power goes. In this case, the Shore Trooper and Snoke are tied on power, so Snoke is going to get the +1 there, which in my opinion is the better choice to go with, because then Snoke can get himself even more powered up, and because he has a lot more stability because of at 7 health points rather than a Shore Trooper who has already got 1 health point left on him. So anyways, we're going to swing in, and we have 23-22, but I think the game is probably going to be going over to the Snoke player, but I had to take a guess here. Snoke can power himself up to being a 6, so that puts 2 points left on the Jabba's Palace. Even here, you could go Shore Trooper to attack Jabba's Palace, and then be able to then go in Snoke win game. So that's how I would see it. Or, of course, you can go the skiff win game as well. So anyways, we're going to go swing in for Snoke to deal the damage. So anyways, we're going to go for the exploit into the snail tank to kill off the Shore Trooper, but it's not going to matter at all, because the fact of the matter is Snoke Red is going to be able to walk away with a win, because the skiff is just enough to win the game. Like I said, you could either done the Shore Trooper or started with Snoke. It wouldn't have mattered either way. Heck, you can even swing the skiff and then swing Snoke, because Snoke wins the game either way. So good on the kudos for both our players for playing it out, and I'm glad we got to see some cool action from the Padawan format. I think it really does give you a different aspect of deck building when you are deck building with Padawan, when everything is commons only, no specialty rares and all of that. So it really does feel very different when you're building with that restriction that you have to go with. So nonetheless, I want you guys to let me know your thoughts down in the comments on our players, on the decks. Have you guys tried out Padawan? If you have, let me know what decks you've tried out. If you haven't yet, what Padawan decks would you be very much interested in trying out? What are your thought process for building a Padawan? What leaders would you want to take? What colors would you want to take? Once again, Padawan is exclusively common only, no specialty rare cards, unless they got printed in common. And then your leader can be any leader you want, and your base always has to be common. So let me know that down in the comments. And let me know as well if I missed anything that these players did. And while you're commenting, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you know when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Mom Dragons TCG.